She said, "Don't introduce me as your girlfriend anymore. It embarrasses me." I smiled coldly. "Thank you for being honest." I unfriended her and stopped treating her like my girlfriend. 2 days later, at a family gathering, the moment she saw the envelope I had left on the table, she was so terrified she could hardly breathe. It's funny how a whole relationship can fall apart over one stupid sentence. For us, it happened on a Friday night, right after dinner with her friends. We were walking out to the parking lot when Qley turned to me and said, very casually, like it was no big deal, "Liam, don't introduce me as your girlfriend anymore. It embarrasses me." I just stared at her for a second because I honestly thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She looked completely serious, almost annoyed, like I'd annoyed her. I only said, "Thanks for being honest." That was the end of it. That night I unfriended her, stopped posting anything about us, and stopped treating her like we were still together. I didn't go, but I sent something for her. Her face changed the moment she recognized my handwriting. She knew it wasn't something light-hearted. And she was right. So, quick background before the envelope part makes sense. I'm Liam, 28. I'm a freelance architect with a stable income, not someone who cares about titles. Qley, 27, a teacher, sweet, funny, and honestly a good person when she isn't trying to compare her life to whatever perfect lives her friends like to show off. That was always the issue. Her friends all had impressive titles, which made her insecure. She never said it out loud, but I knew she felt out of place around them. And dating a guy who didn't work for a big-name company didn't help. She never attacked my job directly, but she'd make these little comments. "Everyone's talking about promotions again. I wish you had co-workers so you could relate." Or, "Sometimes I feel like I can't introduce you properly. There's no label." I always brushed it off. I figured insecurity happens, people talk nonsense when they feel pressured. It wasn't a deal-breaker to me. But then came the dinner with her old college friends. We were at this rooftop place. Loud music, overpriced cocktails, the usual. Most of the table worked in banking or finance. They talked about salaries like it was a sport. One guy literally spent 15 minutes describing the leather in his new BMW. I sat there, nodding, counting down the seconds until dessert. At one point, I introduced Qley the way I always do. "Hey, this is my girlfriend Qley." But one of her male friends grinned and said, "Girlfriend, cute. When are you two upgrading to husband and wife status?" It was a harmless joke. Everyone laughed. I laughed. Qley didn't. On the drive home, she went silent. You know that tense kind of silence where you know something's coming. When we got to her apartment, she finally turned to me and said, "Liam, can you not call me your girlfriend anymore? It sounds childish. Everyone else is moving forward. I feel stupid." I thought I misheard her. "What? That's what you are?" She shook her head. "No, it makes me look less. You don't have a traditional job. We don't have a house. You don't have a title. And then girlfriend on top of that. It makes me feel embarrassed." That word stuck with me. I didn't argue. Honestly, I didn't even care to. Something inside me just stopped responding. I dropped her off, drove home, and made 3 quick decisions. I switched my relationship status back to single. I texted her younger sister, Sophia. She actually likes me. We get along well. I sent her a message. "Hey, I can't make it to your mom's birthday dinner. Can you help me put something on the table for Qley? She'll know what it means." Then I handed her the envelope. If Qley didn't want to be introduced as my girlfriend, then fine. She wouldn't have to be. And she definitely wouldn't like the thing waiting for her inside that envelope. The funny thing is, even after everything she said that night, the next day Qley acted like nothing happened, probably assuming I'd just get over it. That was her pattern. She'd drop something hurtful, then expect me to patch it up. Anyway, the real explosion didn't happen until the gathering with her college crew again, the same group from the rooftop dinner. I went because this was before the embarrassing girlfriend comment. And honestly, I thought we were fine. We met at some fancy lounge downtown. Low lights, overpriced drinks, guys in suits trying too hard, girls comparing engagement rings. The usual, everyone trying to impress each other vibe. From the moment we walked in, I felt Qley stiffen a little. She always did that around them, like she had to sit up straighter and pretend her life was more curated than it actually was. I didn't blame her. Everyone there talked like LinkedIn posts. Half an hour in, one of her male friends, Eric, came over, clapped me on the shoulder like we'd been best friends for years and asked, "So, Liam, still doing the architect thing?" The way he paused at architect thing told me everything. I shrugged. "Yeah, still doing it. Pays the bills. Pays a few more bills than that, actually." He laughed like I was being modest. Qley shot me a quick look like she was begging me not to make her look bad. I ignored it. Later, someone asked how long we'd been together. I gave the normal answer. "This is my girlfriend, Qley." And that was when Eric did the whole "girlfriend? Cute. When's the upgrade?" thing. Everyone chuckled, again, harmless. Nobody meant anything by it. Except Qley. She forced a stiff smile, squeezed my arm under the table, and stayed silent for the rest of the night. I felt it, the way she sank into her own head. And yeah, part of me knew what was coming. I just didn't think she'd say it out loud. On the way home, she was cold. She wasn't angry, just distant, thinking way too hard about whatever was eating at her. And then she dropped the sentence that was the point where I stopped respecting her. "Liam, can you stop calling me your girlfriend? It sounds immature. My friends have careers. They have plans. They talk about mortgages and promotions. And then you say girlfriend like we're two kids in a dorm. It makes me feel small." Let's pause there. This woman, a teacher, was embarrassed because her boyfriend wasn't screaming his corporate worth loudly enough for her friends. I looked at her like she'd told me the sky was green. "That's what you are, Qley, my girlfriend." She shook her head like she was correcting a child. "But it sounds cheap. People think you're not serious, and then with your job—" There it was. The job thing she always tried to dance around. "My job?" I asked calm. "I'm just saying, it doesn't have the same weight when people ask about you. I feel like I'm dating someone who's, I don't know, not established." Let me tell you, I have heard some ridiculous things in my life, but hearing a woman earning a teacher's salary talk down to me, a guy quietly making triple her income while designing homes she'd never afford to live in, was downright surreal. But I didn't argue. There was no point. If someone is embarrassed by you, you don't negotiate your dignity with them. You just stop showing up. So I dropped her off, said goodnight like everything was normal, drove home and started cleaning up my life. I pulled myself out of every family event on her calendar. I removed our photos from my socials. I switched my relationship status back to single. And I messaged her sister, Sophia, who actually respects me, to help me deliver the envelope at their mum's birthday. Sophia asked what it was. I told her Qley needed to read it. Then came the day of the family gathering. And naturally, I didn't go. From what Sophia told me later, Qley arrived laughing, chatting, acting like she'd finally gotten through to me. She thought she'd taught me a lesson about ambition or something. She didn't know she was 2 days away from losing the future she'd been pressuring me for. Sophia placed the envelope right on Qley's plate before the dinner started. No one paid attention to the envelope at first. But then Qley sat down, saw her name on the front and immediately froze. She recognized my handwriting and knew it wasn't something casual. Sophia said Qley went quiet the moment she saw my handwriting. She didn't touch the envelope for a while. Later that night, she finally went home and opened it. And about 20 minutes after that, my phone started exploding with calls. I didn't pick up. Nothing she said was going to change anything anyway. Inside that envelope were just 2 things. Simple, plain. I'd been negotiating the penthouse for weeks. I signed the deposit right after our argument. An actual deposit. 5 years of savings. 5 years of grinding through freelance projects, working late nights, picking up side jobs, investing quietly, living below my means. All of it poured into that down payment. Qley used to ask me why I didn't buy a place yet. Why I rented. Why I wasn't settled. She never understood that I wasn't avoiding adulthood. I was planning a future I thought she'd be part of. And she definitely didn't know that the penthouse had a small studio room I planned to turn into a workspace for her. The kind she always dreamed of, but never said out loud. She only saw no job title. She never asked about the rest. The second thing in the envelope was a small handwritten note. No flowery words, no bitterness, just one short message. Qley, I used to think girlfriend was the first step on the road to wife. But if the title embarrasses you now, it'll destroy you later. So I'm giving you what you wanted. Your freedom. This home will be mine alone. I hope you find a label that makes you proud. Liam. That was it. Short, direct, clean. Sophia told me the moment Qley read it. She sat down and cried quietly for a long time. She kept saying, "Why didn't he tell me? Why didn't he say anything? Why did he do this?" And honestly, I didn't see a point in explaining anything anymore. Qley wasn't crying because she realized she hurt me. She wasn't crying because she suddenly respected me. She was crying because she saw the future she lost, the future she thought she deserved, and realized she had no idea how close she'd been to getting it. Let's be real. A penthouse isn't about luxury. It's about stability, security, proof of a life moving forward, the exact thing she claimed she wanted. And she threw all of it away because the word girlfriend didn't sound prestigious enough in front of her friends. The irony is almost painful. If she had just kept her mouth shut for 48 more hours, she would have been celebrating with me in that apartment. She wouldn't have been on the floor rereading the receipt like it was a death certificate. Sophia told me Qley called her too, sobbing, asking if the deposit was real, asking if I was actually serious, asking why I didn't tell her about my savings, my investments, my plans, all these things she never cared to understand in the first place. Then Qley asked the question that made me genuinely laugh. "Do you think he still loves me?" Sophia didn't answer. She knew the truth. Love isn't the issue. Trust and respect are. Qley wasn't embarrassed by the word girlfriend. She was embarrassed by me. And that's enough to end anything, no matter how much love is left. That night she sent me 18 missed calls and 6 voice messages. I didn't listen to a single one. I didn't need to. There was nothing she said was going to change anything at that point. And the worst part for her? She can't blame anyone but herself. She tried contacting me for days, but I didn't answer. When someone tells you they're embarrassed to stand next to you, there's no meaningful conversation left to have. I don't do relationships where I have to prove my worth like I'm applying for a promotion. On the 4th day, she called from a different number, and I picked up without checking. She didn't even say hello. She went straight in with, "Liam, I'm sorry. I swear I didn't mean it like that. I was stressed, my friends." I cut her off, calm, flat. "Qley, it's not the wording, it's the thinking behind it." She went quiet. Then she said the one sentence she should have said months ago. "I didn't know you were buying a place for us." I laughed, not mocking, just tired. "That's the problem. You didn't ask, you just judged." Silence again. She tried one more time. "Can we at least talk in person?" "No," I said, "because the issue isn't the apartment. If I hadn't bought it, if I stayed renting forever, you'd still be embarrassed. And I'm not spending my life proving I'm good enough for someone who only understands value when it's printed on a receipt." She started crying. I didn't say anything. Not because I enjoyed it, but because there was nothing left for me to fix. After that, I blocked her number. A year later, my life is weirdly simple. The penthouse is home now. I turned the spare room into a mini studio for lesson planning and small projects. My freelance work is steady. My days are predictable in the best way possible. And I'm dating someone new, Mia. She's also a teacher. On our 3rd date, she asked me what made me happy at work. Not what I earned, not who I worked for, not whether I planned to scale up. Just what I enjoyed. That alone told me more about her character than any title ever could. Sometimes she comes over after class and sits on the balcony with me grading papers while I sketch out a design. She never asks about mortgages or career ladders. She never hints at comparisons. She just shows up as herself, and somehow that's enough. Looking back, I don't think Qley was a bad person. Just someone who wanted life to look a certain way, and panicked when it didn't match the picture in her head. But here's the thing I finally learned. Keeping your self-respect matters more than keeping someone who makes you question it. And the moment someone becomes embarrassed by who you are, you owe it to yourself to let them go find whatever label they think will save them. I hope she finds hers. Me? I'm good.